Anyway, this is the earliest thing that we could find about him. Ryan Ruth was 36 at the time, was arrested without incident at 1 a.m. at Monday at United Roofing. Ruth was pulled over about 10 p.m. Sunday during a traffic stop, but he put his hand on a firearm and drove to United Roofing, where he remained barricaded inside. Anyway, let's get back to his interview in Newsweek in Romania.
Here. So the question as far as why I'm here, to me, you know, a lot of the other conflicts are gray, but this conflict is definitely black and white. This is about good versus evil. This is a storybook, you know, any movie we've ever watched, this is definitely evil against good. I mean, we're battling a situation here where, you know, the Ukrainians and the rest of the world are caring and kind and generous and unselfish and take care of one another, and it's just a matter of, you know, we need to stand up for that. That is the most important thing in the world, is just to show human beings that we're kind and we're caring and that we take care of one another and that the world is united so that we feed each other and make sure that...
Yeah, his hair is blue and yellow because of the Ukrainian flag, I think.
You know, we all move forward as one collective.
So he clearly doesn't think Trump would have stopped the invasion? No. I don't think he thinks Trump would have stopped the invasion at all. It kind of feels to me like he thinks Trump is being very mean to Zelensky and is probably... I think this guy became... The funniest part of this is I think he became a Russiagator after Russiagate, okay? I think he became a Russiagate guy like far after Russiagate was like even a thing. Like after MSNBC was like, all right, never mind. We investigated a lot of the stuff. There was a lot of like weirdly pro-Israel accounts involved in the election interference. We're just going to stop talking about this altogether. And he became a Russiagator way too late to the game because he voted for Trump in 2016, according to his own admission on his Twitter. So I think that this dude might have actually been hired by Ukraine to do this. Okay, calm down, dude. No, that's not what happened. No, this is a man who was, I think, acting out on his own, okay? This is a guy who literally was insane. A real go-getter, okay? The community found his Telegram. That's crazy that y'all found his Telegram. Last seen on September 13th. Won't be on there any longer, let me tell you. Yeah, I don't think Ukraine hired him, but I'm going to be honest with you. He might think Ukraine hired him, okay? Like... And yeah, this is the like earliest thing that we found about him. Man with barricade self inside a business. He is from I think this is literally where he's from originally. Reddit knows him. Have you contacted Ryan Ruth? He had a volunteer information center and kept track of all the international volunteers with little Ukrainian flags with each other's name on the Maidan. Ryan Ruth is a pest who tries to get around official Ukrainian army policy, misrepresents himself, and tried to get a number off of Syria and Afghani citizens into the Legion. Avoid him. He helped a few of my friends find units last year when the Legion had really strict requirements for a while. I do believe you about the Syrians and Afghans, though. Most of what he does is help international volunteers join a unit, so he should still be in contact with most of them. He may do good things. He also put Ukrainian recruiters' names and phone numbers on his personal blog without permission. They found out when random people began messaging them. He also got salty when there were security why? The Ukrainians, the pro-Ukrainian subreddit, knowing who this guy is insane. Okay, I think this guy just has a very one, things that we know about Ryan Ruth. He's a real go-getter. Okay, if he puts his mind to something, he's gonna go out and do it. Okay, he's gonna go out. He went to Ukraine. Okay, he literally went to Ukraine. He also personally, I think, tried to start a business in Hawaii to build houses for homeless people in Hawaii. Okay, here it is. Kwahale homeless concept generating offers of donations. Among them was a Kailua couple that pledged $40,000 to fund the construction of more tiny homes. Ryan Ruth, the owner of Camp Box Honolulu, which builds storage units and tiny houses, said his donation of a tiny house allows him to use his expertise to address a larger problem. Yeah, it seems he lived in Greensboro, North Carolina, and moved out of the state in 2020. I think he also, not only did he live in Greensboro, but he also had a house in Hawaii as well. Because he mentioned that he has an empty house in Hawaii because he wanted to bring, I can't believe I'm saying this. He wanted to bring Kim Jong-un to his house as a guest to talk to him. Dude, also, he was BLM and ALM. Hashtag George Floyd protest. Hashtag all lives matter. Local municipalities and states cannot continue to be allowed to provide their own oversight on law enforcement. It is a gross conflict of interest. The federal government must be compelled to always be the legal review of police action. This is incredible stuff, man. This is incredible fucking stuff. He is in a New York Times article. We're going to talk about that in a second. I'm confused. Is this a good dude or not? In the USMC, a lot of guys don't really trust the Marine that hasn't had to stand tall before a man at least once. By this, I mean some sort of run with the UCMJ. This guy at least does sound like he gets done. I'm confused. He's quite eccentric, but he's also very involved in helping international volunteers in Ukraine. So he probably knows your brother, or at least knows people from his unit. This is his website. He would probably know how to get help to word out about your missing friend. I think he wanted to Kim Jong-un. Anyway, this is the earliest thing that we could find about him. Ryan Ruth was 36 at the time, was arrested without incident at 1 a.m. at Monday at United Roofing. Ruth was pulled over about 10 p.m. Sunday during a traffic stop, but he put his hand on a firearm and drove to United Roofing, where he remained barricaded inside. Ruth was charged with carrying and concealed in a possession of a mass destruction, referring to a fully automatic machine. He was also charged with resisting, delaying, and obstructing law enforcement officer and driving while license revoked. In the Army subreddit post where he's mentioned for later when talking about the New York Times, I'm always skeptical of anyone posting their exploits on social media. This guy and that Nancy guy rubbed me the wrong way. Ukrainian officials initially boasted 20,000 potential Legion volunteers, but far fewer actually enlisted. Currently, there are around 1,500 members in the organization, say people with knowledge of the Legion. Some are experienced fighters working as a part of the defense intelligence of Ukraine. But there have been high-profile problems. A former Army private first class, John McIntyre, was ejected from the Legion for bad behavior. Internal documents show that the Legion is struggling. Mr. Nance, where is the other one? Malcolm Nance? Okay, where is the article about our boy? Oh, with Legion growth stalling, Ryan Ruth, a former construction worker from Greensboro, North Carolina, is seeking recruits from among Afghan soldiers who fled the Taliban. Mr. Ruth, who has spent several months in Ukraine last year, said he planned to move them, in some cases illegally, from Pakistan and Iran to Ukraine. He said dozens had expressed interest. We can probably purchase some passports through Pakistan since it's such a corrupt country, he said in an interview from Washington. Hey, Hasan, why were you on r/BreakCooper? Are you guys? We literally went on r/BreakCooper on stream. Why was I on Dr. Disrespect Live? We literally went on it on stream to expose my moderator Weeby for starting the subreddit. Do you think I go on Reddit on my own time? I don't use Reddit. Anyway, let's continue. It is not clear whether he has succeeded, but one former Afghan soldier said he had been contacted and was interested in fighting if it meant leaving Iran, where he was living illegally. Okay, that's it. That's the only mention that he gets, I think. This man's politics are like the coexist bumper sticker, but the peace sign is the NATO compass. Yeah. If there's one thing that this guy was objectively in favor of, it is NATO. Okay? Objectively. And what I mean by that is American Post Taiwan flag in Kyiv to honor Taiwanese soldiers in Ukraine. Volunteer says if China protests, I can order another 1,000 flags. That's him. Ryan Ruth points to Taiwan flag. He would have loved voting for Biden. I agree. But I think he also cared about Palestine. So maybe he was conflicted. Because I think he was like pro-Palestinian, like way more than the average American. But also simultaneously, he was so insanely pro-NATO and so insanely pro-Ukraine and so insanely like above and beyond what an average person would care about. You know what I mean? You think this could mess up Kamala's momentum? No, I don't think so. I think they'll talk about him a lot. Like the Republicans will go crazy over it. Average D voter, D in a nutshell. No, Destiny is permanent. What the fuck are you talking about? I mean, the Ukraine stuff, yes, but I think this dude is definitely way more pro. Like the Ukraine stuff, the Taiwan stuff, absolutely. Can you be pro-NATO and Palestine for real? Americans can, okay? Trump making other countries chip in the NATO funds probably made him flip. Yeah. I think I found his Reddit account. We know his Reddit account is called Taiwan Foreign Legion. He's like really, really nutty about like defending Taiwan and also defending Ukraine. He was also trying to recruit Afghan soldiers, bro. This dude is crazy cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, dude. Holy moly. Incredible. God, I love the United States of America. Moments like this is my favorite, okay? Times like this, I'm like, God damn, I love the American political sphere and all of its bountiful content. All right, let's see what CNN is saying while I go piss.
His attitude toward in Ukraine, the fact that he claims he fought there and was recruiting people to go fight. Does that make it a motive? Not necessarily, but it's certainly something that's going to cause them to want to take a deeper look at that. And again, the social media aspect of this. I mean, he's 58 years old and does have a social media footprint. Not that older people don't, but it shows that he's very active on social media. He did have a GoPro, so he was planning on filming himself, and he wanted to leave that behind, in my opinion, if he had been successful. And so all these things are, I think, important clues, but the most important clues are going to come from the execution of those search warrants and the evidence they're able to gather from his home, a business, interviewing friends, family, smartphones, all those kinds of things. That's where the evidence is going to really come from. And that's what they're actively working right now. And now that his name is out there, obviously there's going to be a lot of interest in tracking down friends and relatives of this individual.
Well, Wolf, just as we're reporting on this and we are getting new information by the moment, I also just want to report some more news that I'm hearing from sources and that our colleagues have also confirmed, which is that in recent days, the Trump campaign was briefed by U.S. intelligence officials about new indications that Iran was planning to increase its attempt to attack former President Donald Trump and those around him. We're hearing this from sources. This is something that was briefed to the Trump campaign. I should note, and I want to be very clear here, we don't know that this new intelligence and this new briefing that the Trump campaign got about this attempt by Iran to escalate its attack on Donald Trump is it at all related to this second attempted that happened today on his golf course. But it does speak to the threat environment.
So do you mean Iran? What are these people are goddamn CNN? Dude, that is crazy.
Just want to get back to you, Andrew McCabe, on this reporting. And while we don't know that it has anything to do with what happened today, what it says about overall what the Secret Service and Homeland Security and officials are taking into account.
And what it tells us, it gives us a very small insight into a very, very troubling, complicated, diverse threats that are facing our political leadership today. And, the fact that they've been briefed on these threats means that the intelligence community considers them credible and reliable and things that they feel like the Secret Service and those engaged in protecting the former president really need to take action on. And so this brings us back to the conversation we had a little while ago, where we were commenting on how is it that this could happen 2 times in just a couple of months, and that someone could get this close to the president from, just kind of poking in from through the fence at the golf course. There is always a tension between protectees and the protective service, particularly when the protectee is someone who's running for office. They want to be available.
This is so... Iran makes the most sense, though. They must avenge Qasem. Yeah, no, Iran doesn't make sense at all in this situation. What are you talking about? This guy is so heavily invested in, like, NATO. I think what's really funny about this, what's really funny about, like, Americans looking at a situation that is, like, so unique to the United States of America and being like, someone else must be responsible for this. No, dude, we're responsible for this. Only in the United States of America could you find a guy that is such a goddamn crank that he was like pro-Tulsi Gabbard, pro-Trump in 2016, vehemently anti-Trump, and like the most invested in both housing the homeless and also simultaneously nuking Moscow in an effort to end the war in Ukraine. This is our people, okay? A guy who in 2002 was arrested by law enforcement for barricading himself in his roofing company's roof, ironically enough, in his roofing company's office with an automatic machine in his hand after being chased by the police. Like, this is someone who you can only find in America, okay? There is no other planet where you can, there is no other place on this planet where there is a guy who is going to have this many conflicting thoughts in his mind and a ease of access to an arsenal of, and a guy who's a real go-getter, okay? This is, yes, as American as apple pie. He's so American that he's got the United States of America flag on his Twitter bio. Okay.
Thank you very, very much. We, of course, are going to continue following all this major breaking news. The FBI says it is investigating.
Yeah, our community scooped the 2002 arrest before any publication. W journalism. Yeah, we got W. Yo, let's get some W's in the chat for W journalists.
Yeah, I just want to thank everyone for joining us as we've been following this breaking news. Wolf, for the last several hours. Wolf Blitzer in Washington. Our breaking news coverage is going to continue. Stay here.
Let Wolf drink his margaritas, man. Oh, Fox is probably going crazy over this. Let's see.
If you have to cut.
God damn it, you Fox. I just want to point out, it took me 3.5 seconds of like glancing at the dude's photo to be like, that's a libtard. I'm going to go back to that once again. I'm going to toot my own horn here. Okay. And tell you once again, I saw the man, I saw his nipples and I was like, that's a libtard. Okay. I'm like GeoGuessr for American politics. Okay. As soon as, yeah, he got cum gutters. That's not a conservative. Okay. That's not a Republican. Okay. 58-year-old man.
Unit. So, you know, we feel the pain of one country's failure and their conflicts, and we enjoy the successes of other countries that are doing good, and we all work together. And for some reason, Russia does not grasp this concept that we're all one unit, and we have to get along and work together and be normal human beings. This is 2022. We have to work together. It seems asinine that we have a leader in a country that does not understand the concept of being unselfish and being generous and being kind and just the basic moral values that are required by human beings these days. It blows my mind.
And what are you doing here in Ukraine?
My initial goal was to come and fight. I think, you know, everybody around the globe should be motivated.
He was not allowed to fight, by the way. I love that, like, a guy whose standards, like a military that is very desperate for foreign volunteers, still looked at this guy and was like, nah, dog, we can't give you a, but in the goddamn US of A, he can have all the he needs, okay? That's the beauty of this country. This failed the Ukrainian ASVAB, okay? I don't even know how they conduct it, okay? I don't know how they conduct that over there, but I do know that they're desperate for people, okay? They're desperate for bodies. And he was still not allowed. He was still not allowed to serve in the Foreign Legion. And yet, in the United States of America, he can have all that he wants, okay? God, this country, man, this country, we are such freaks, dude. We are the freakish country, dude. We are the most insane country. A guy who was not allowed to carry in Ukraine can just like do whatever he wants here.
To come here and support the Ukrainians and support the army, no matter what gender, age, anything. Everybody should be here supporting the army. But I'm 56, so initially they were like, well, I have no military experience, so they're like, you're not an ideal candidate.
Damn it!
So they said, not right this minute.
God damn it, dude. He served. Yeah, you chatter. You piece of... God damn it, dude. Top of the hour roofing. Oh my God. At the top of the hour, there's a 3-minute ad break. I was cooking up a really good one too. I was cooking up a really good one. If you no longer want to see those ads, all you need to do is subscribe, which you can do for $6, even though it's 30% off right now, or for free with a Twitch Prime by connecting your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account. Here's the 3-minute ad break now. You can also get gifted a sub. Why does he look like you? Because they put my face on his face, dude. Chatters, come on. He does kind of look like you. It is my face. They Photoshop my face onto his... Oh my God. Some chatters are so holy.
So plan B was to come here to Kyiv and promote getting more people here. You know, we need thousands and thousands and thousands of people here fighting with the Ukrainians. We need, you know, we've got 190 countries around the world, and we need thousands from all of them. If the governments will not send their official military, then we civilians have to pick up the torch and make this thing happen. And we've gotten some wonderful people here, but it's a small fraction of the number that should be here. If we have 5,000, you know, to to 10,000 people here fighting, you know, that is just a minuscule amount of the 5 billion people on the globe. You know, we need everyone here fighting. That's why I'm in Kyiv. So every project that I promote is about getting people here to support the Ukrainians. We were at a critical juncture in this where we are sitting on the fence as far as whether good or evil is going to win. You know, right now we're looking at a situation where the world is waning in its thinking that this is important or not. And we're at a point where, you know, all right, are we going to stand for humanity, for human rights, for everything that is good with the world? Or are we just going to ignore it? You know, if everybody is complacent and doesn't join this fight, then guess who's going to win? It might take 10 years, but we're going to lose this battle if everyone around the globe does not stop what they're doing.
He also wrote this book called Ukraine's Unwinnable: The Fatal Flaw of Democracy, World Abandonment, and the Global Citizen, Taiwan, Afghanistan, North Korea, and the End of Humanity. Oh my God, he wrote a separate book presenting the book on Amazon. Roosters crow here. I sit at 5 a.m. I saw a white rooster yesterday, and they normally run off screaming, but this one was paralyzed and could no longer walk. And what the? Okay, I'm gonna stop reading that. He's insane.
Get off the couch and come to Ukraine and defend the human rights of everyone around the globe. This is the most important thing going on in the world today. So sitting around and letting life go on as normal.
He also stopped a rape. He fought and chased a suspected rapist and later assisted the police in an investigation. Makes him a super citizen, if not a superhero. For his efforts, Ruth was awarded Law Enforcement Oscar by the Greensboro chapter of the International Union of Police Association. A statue shaped like an Academy Award rests on the mantle of his living room. Ruth received the Oscar for being the Citizen of the Year. I hope that everybody else would have done the same thing in the same situation, Ruth, 25, said. When these types of incidents happen, most of what you do is just impulse. You're just reacting. I was happy to be at the right place at the right time. I'm so glad this guy didn't die. Yeah, I can't wait. He's going to write the most insane book. He is the main character. We're just the background. This guy's like a up Forrest Gump. He's like, yeah, he's the Forrest Gump, but for NATO. He also wrote this article for that newspaper in 1995. Graffiti is giving city an ugly black eye. Miss Bottoms, the mayor of Atlanta, looks like a sharp person for VP. I would support her. Did Hillary decline? What the? Prison call, interview him on the pod. I would love to do that. I am, however, afraid that if he ever gets out of prison, he would me for not being sufficiently pro-Ukraine. Like, this is the exact type of guy who would go around being like, this is in the pocket of Vladimir Putin. I know it. Okay. Like, or pro-China. He was not very good at it. True, but he's definitely the type of guy who is a go-getter. He's not going to stop.
Complaining about gas prices and complaining about, you know, your luxury life in whatever country you live in is unacceptable. As human beings, we must support each other. We cannot turn our backs on anyone around the world and expect the problem to go away. So I've been dealing with Russia for my entire life. You know, we had one period where it was okay, but now we've let it slip back into terrorism. So it's just, the world needs to respond. You know, why world leaders are not sending military is beyond me. We're going to have to elect new leaders the next go around that have a backbone and that, you know, have the fortitude to say, hey, we're not going to tolerate this type of behavior. This type of behavior is unacceptable anywhere, any place, you know. So it's totally unacceptable. And why people are not responding, I do not know.
What impressed you the most since you are here?
My trip to Irpin was pretty emotional. So, you know, going and seeing the...
Boring. Yapper.
Jr. happened to be superb marksman. And Eric Trump, it just so happens, was telling me earlier today with some top-notch sharpshooters, some of the best in the country, they were hitting targets from a mile away. That ought to give people a little bit of perspective in terms of what the perimeter needs to be for any top candidate or elected official. The perimeter can't be 300 to 500 yards because that's considered an easy by anybody that has any level of. Now, Eric was, to be honest, pretty emotional and said the words to me, how many more lives does my father have here? In terms of, he can only dodge so many bullets.
Wow.
And he rightfully is upset. And knowing firearms as well as he does, he makes a compelling case. And I'm going to put him on tomorrow night, and he's going to describe this in his own way and how he felt. The whole family has to be upset. I remember the last time when this happened in Butler, poor Barron Trump found out somebody ran over to him and said, "Your dad, we think he's dead." For a kid that's about to go off to college, I don't think that's and probably a very traumatic one for him. And for the entire family, and I feel horrible for this family for all that they have gone through. So much of it has been unfair. But just
is he crying
on this? The president tends to shrug this off himself. The president shook the hands, according to my friend Steve Witkoff, of every single person that was out there protecting him. He thanked every one of them for protecting him. He was grateful to all of them. And that just happens to be the way it is. He happens to be. It's a side of him that I wish he would show more often to the American people. But that does not negate the question, Charlie, and I think we're tracking on this very important issue. You've got a tree line, you've got a fence, you're only 300 yards away from where the presidential candidate, former...
Yeah, I guess his boyfriend almost got again, so that's probably why he's a little emotional.
Top-notch Secret Service agent that was able to stop that threat by taking his own... I don't know where we would be again today. I mean, the
top-notch Secret Service agent, they missed, dog. What the fuck are you talking about? He literally escaped the woods, got in his Nissan SUV, and drove away.
I think there's a lot of questions that got to be answered. This interim report that'll be coming out from Congress I think is going to be very revealing.
Sean, it's Molly here. I'm having this remarkable deja vu because the last time I saw you in person, we were outside of Bedminster, outside of the golf club where he had just survived the prior attempt. And now here we are in the same situation where it's remarkable that the former president is still alive. Remarkable that we're talking about security failures, the bravery, of course, of the people on the ground there, of the Secret Service agent that was one hole ahead and created where we are today. We're thankfully not holding a state funeral of types. Your thoughts on where this goes as we're still waiting for the first interim report to come out on the prior attempt.
Molly, on so many levels, you're so right. And I remember the conversation we had about this very topic. But if you think of the distance of 300 to 500 yards and the idea, regardless of what the resources are, if you don't have enough resources.
Bro, nobody cares about Trump, dude. Stop crying, okay? No one. Like, you guys do, your fans do, but like, it literally, this is so stupid.
That is a...
He's like, why won't people care about our big, beautiful... Why won't people care about our big, beautiful president? This is so frustrating. Why don't they care? Well, they do. It seems they do care. They just care in the opposite direction. They care enough to like try and okay? Maybe they should care less about the big, beautiful boy if you want them to not the president.
Threat level in this country has never been greater than it is right now, and that it is coming from everywhere. So that would tell me we need more resources, not just for President Trump, but for the vice president, for the president.
Will this have some real impact on the election? I don't think this will have like a major impact on the election. It is because this guy's too much of a kook, too much of a crank. People hate Donald Trump. Like, I mean, he literally got chat. He got in the ear and it didn't have an impact on the election. So I don't know why the rerun would have more impact. At least this time it's like actually by someone who is libbed up and not like a registered Republican who was like, I don't know, if a president comes around to my neighborhood, I might go and kill him. Like, that was the last guy. But, you know, oh, he wasn't a registered Republican? The last shooter was. This guy was okay, first of all, this guy was also a registered Republican. It's just he was a registered independent afterwards. Or at least as a registered independent, he voted for Donald Trump in 2016. But I'm pretty sure I think he voted for... He's a former Trump Republican turned never Trump Republican. Yeah, he did in 2016. In 2016, he was for Trump, at least his own admission. He also didn't have an issue with like Vivek and Haley, which I think is kind of weird. But I guess he like thought that Nikki Haley was like pro-NATO, which she is, right? And I think that was the reason why he was like saying like Nikki Haley, like you have to stay in the race until the very end. But I don't know why he was pro-Vivek, because like I thought Vivek was like super pro-Russia, but like very anti-China, which so was this guy. This guy was like super anti-China and super anti-Russia. Like those are the most like he has a litany of inherently contradictory positions, which is very understandable for the average American. Americans have like the dumbest positions, but overall, I think like if there's a couple things that are the high notes, like things that he cared about the most, it's like pro-Ukraine, nuking Russia, pro-NATO, and pro-Taiwan, super anti-China, like super anti-China and super duper.
It's happened here again because we cannot create a new normal around a president nearly being, but yet that's what happened last time. Do you think this happens again here?
Well, Joe, you know, your media analysis is always spot on, and I think you're right about this in more ways than you may know. You're right. It kind of got pushed to the side, and we've kind of been ignoring all of that. And what really bothered me, if we have unfortunately, sadly, tragically covered too many school shootings over the course of our careers, all of us on this program tonight. And when you think about most of those school shootings, we know within hours who the person is. We've identified where they stand politically on social media. We start learning about their background. Maybe they had trouble or problems or whatever it happened to be. We know more within 5 hours than we learned in a month after Butler, PA, and that is troublesome. She thinks him. So I think that at the end of the day, that we really need more information and not less information when it comes to shootings like this, and the media needs to not ignore this. I don't want to see any elected official ever in any situation where they're threatened, and this is not political for me in any way. And I want our nation safe and secure. And that's why I don't want defund, dismantle, and no bail laws. That's why I want a border wall. That's why I want vetting for people coming into this country. I want background checks. I want health checks. I want a means test so you're not a financial burden on the American people. These are simple solutions. The American people will sort the political side of this out in 51 days, but this has got to be a top-of-mind issue. Our safety, our security in our towns and our cities, at our border, and I think America...
Wait, I don't get it. The guy is like as American as you can get. He was so American, he was exercising his fundamental Second Amendment right.
Like the people that have been...
Are they just assuming now? Like, did they just collectively decide, let's just lie about who the shooter is? Like, dog, he's from North Carolina. Like, it doesn't get more American than that. He is a white guy. What the is happening? Like, how the is this the immigrants'
free
fault?
Housing, healthcare, education, and free sex change surgery for illegal immigrants. And most Americans don't know this yet, and voting starts early this week in Pennsylvania. Now, that is a disservice from the media that you...
Wait, free housing, free health care for Americans? Like, what? I wish.
Really fair choice in November. They need to know about this. Now, I'm going to make this challenge. And for the record, when the Biden administration wouldn't give Robert F. Kennedy Jr. a Secret Service protection, even though I disagree with Robert F. Kennedy Jr., in light of his family background, his uncle was, his father was, they denied him Secret Service protection for the longest time until after the shooting in Butler, and I had been advocating for him to get that. The minute after he supported Donald Trump, that was it. They took his Secret Service protection away. That, to me, they need a complete reevaluation of who in the political arena needs support. And one other issue that is political that I will bring up. We need to re-examine what happened in the summer of 2020. We had 574 riots. We had dozens of dead Americans. We had thousands of cops injured with bricks, rocks, bottles, Molotov cocktails. We had billions of dollars in property damage. Vice President Walz would not call in the National Guard. Opened up the windows of his family home to smell burning rubber, the smell of freedom, or whatever he called it. And Kamala Harris, 4 days after a police precinct in Minneapolis was burned to the ground, she was out tweeting out a bail fund to let the rioters out of jail, then goes on with Colbert and says, those rioters aren't going to stop, they shouldn't stop, and we're not going to stop. Well, where's Liz Cheney when you need her? Because that kind of sounds like rioting and insurrection support. So I think these are political issues that I know you're going to be talking about the rest of the hour.
Well, we will for sure. Sean, it's Alicia again. I just have one more question. Just wondering, you know, when there was a reporter in that news conference earlier who said that there were 25 of us, referring to the reporters, wondering how this was able to happen. And then the sheriff said, you know, he's not the sitting president. In the room that I was sitting in, everyone gasped. Is this a moment for President Biden where he needs to, where the onus is on him to go above and beyond all protocols and make a decision? We're 51 days from the election, that Donald Trump needs the kind of protection that he deserves.
I think it's been a moment for them since Butler. I think it was a moment. I think they should have had the common sense to give Robert F. Kennedy Jr. in light of what happened to his father and his uncle being, he deserved Secret Service protection. There were a few of us that were outspoken begging for it on his behalf, even though I don't have a political agreement with him on a lot of issues. I think that after Butler, there was some improvement. But how did somebody get within 300 yards of Donald Trump with a scoped AK-47 and have an ability come within really seconds of him again? How is that possible? That is not, for those that know.
You want to know how unserious the situation is? They're basically done talking about like how devastating it is for Trump and are now advocating for more funds to be allocated to Trump's Secret Service detail so he can golf. Okay. Like, my man had 2 hits. Okay. One time it grazed him. The second time the guy couldn't even fire off. And like, these guys are literally like, yeah, he should be able to golf in the privacy of his own private golf course. And there should be a 1 mile radius where there's no one that's ever been a registered Democrat around him. It's like, that's the main point of concern for you. Like, that's what you're actually worried about right now. Okay. You're not even taking this seriously. Why the fuck should anyone else take this seriously? And it's probably because like, there's not really anything that you can say about this because, again, the dude is white, okay? The dude was a white man. So their arguments kind of fall flat in this situation. Not only is the dude a white man, but he had ease of access to, okay? And in that situation, you can't really do anything. You can't really do anything because not only is he a cis white guy, okay? He's like, yeah, sure, he's pro-Ukraine, okay? Insanely pro-NATO, very anti-China, whatever. But like it doesn't comfortably fit any narrative that they want to slot into. That's why Sean Hannity just like didn't even talk about his background and immediately starts talking about how like immigrants are doing this somehow, you know?
Here around Trump International Golf Club, where the former president was playing around today. Here's how the Palm Beach County Sheriff answered that question.
At this level that he is at right now, he's not the sitting president. If he was, we would have had this entire golf course around it. Well, because he's not, the security is limited to the areas that the Secret Service deems possible. So I would imagine that the next time he comes to the golf course, there'll probably be a little bit more people around the perimeter. But the Secret Service did exactly what they should have done.
Is there any info about the shooter? Go back and watch the VOD for the past like hour and a half. We dove into his background. He's a nut job, like a total nutso.
Out from a chain link fence surrounding the golf club. The agent fired off 4 to 6 and was just one hole of
total nut job and also a major libtard, like incredibly pro-NATO, former Trump voter, turned into a never Trumper, former Republican who voted for Donald Trump in 2016, became a never Trump Republican, and was a single issue voter. He was John Nadeau.
2 backpacks with ceramic plates, essentially the same kind of plates you find in body armor. And a GoPro camera was also recovered. The suspect was just 300 to 500 yards away from the former president. The Palm Beach County Sheriff said it's not a long distance when a scope is involved. And we just heard Sean say the same thing. That suspect has been identified, according to Fox News, as Ryan Wesley Ruth. Now, witnesses saw him fleeing in that Nissan SUV, took a photo, quick action, took a photo of the license plate, alerted police. The suspect, Mr. Ruth, was then nabbed in nearby Martin County to the north while traveling on I-95. There are those plates I told you about from the backpacks that were recovered at the scene, and you can see the AK-47 style rifle that was recovered. Now, Trump International Golf Club is just a 12-minute drive from nearby Palm Beach and Mar-a-Lago. Of course, that's where the former president resides, just 4.5 miles away. It's not clear how this potential was tipped off. This was not on any of the former president's schedules. Nobody knew he was going to play except for his inner circle. Of course, the former president likes to play golf. There's no secret there. It's just not clear right now how this potential was scoping out the former president. Did he follow the motorcade out of Mar-a-Lago and then go to the club, or was he already waiting there when the president teed off this afternoon, Molly?
All great questions. Lucas Tomlinson giving us a great breakdown of all the information that we have so far as we get ready to continue asking more questions. Lucas Tomlinson from the White House, thank you. There are questions about security for the former president, of course. Questions about how this happened. We have former FBI agent and Fox News contributor Nicole Parker joining us now. Nicole, thank you for your insights tonight. As we've watched all of this unfolding and a lot of the unanswered questions, we're looking for information more about this suspect. What are your insights? About what we know and what we can gather from the nest they're on, go through the vehicle and the house and seek more information?
Right. I have a few comments. First of all, I've been watching your programming. Sean Hannity is spot on. I don't know how many attempts against President Trump it's going to take for them to realize he deserves the full amount of security possible.
No, I don't think they should do that. One, because I think it's so funny. I love that. I love that.
And I imagine his family, I mean, his loved ones, they have to go through this again. And the election, you know, we've got some time to go. And he is very much on people's radars, and we know this. And Christopher Wray has come out and talked about all of these threats. Iran has threats against President Trump. We have local, officials saying that President Trump is a huge threat to democracy. Do you think that is going to embolden individuals to say, you know, I've got to do whatever I have to do to get rid of him? That rhetoric has got to end, regardless of where you stand on the political spectrum. Violence is not okay. And violence against any political individual is not okay. Violence against any American is not okay. And I think we've almost become numb to it because of many points that Sean Hannity made. People pouring across the border. I mean, it is extremely dangerous. But in light of this specific incident, they mentioned, you know what, he did get more detail as a result of what happened, on July 13th. Well, where was that? I live here in South Florida. I was an FBI agent in the FBI Miami division. I've been to Palm Beach. I've been to that golf course, and that location where he was, there's a bus stop literally within a couple hundred feet from that golf course. Any individual can go up to that chain link fence or wherever it might be. Hedges are not enough. They are not enough. We must honor and respect the Secret Service agent who was able to see that muzzle sticking through the fence. I mean, that is impressive. And again, coming from law enforcement, I can speak from personal experience. They changed the deadly force policy for DOJ after the summer of 2020, and it really felt like they were giving less protection to the, and specifically for us, the FBI agents. I know that's a similar sentiment likely throughout all of law enforcement, where when you are faced with a task, a threat, you do start to double and triple guess yourself. Am I authorized to use deadly force? Because now they come after law enforcement. They'll say, you know what, you weren't authorized and now you're going to get charged. We saw that happen quite frequently.
They're having, dude, this is awesome. Everyone's got their own pet. Everyone's got their own pet project. It's like, yeah, this is because they're just not like, they're mistreating law enforcement officers, you know? You know, the Democrats might approve the additional. Oh, they 100% will approve the additional security. Are you kidding me? They shouldn't. It'd be really funny. It would be really funny if they didn't. But of course, Joe Brandon will do that. Are you kidding me? They literally immediately ran with like, oh, we're so sad, whatever. All this
investigating this is the FBI. Is that seems to me to be a place that you might start to try to get to the bottom of, well, who did know he was playing today?
And that's an excellent question. And frankly, that's one of the questions I have. And listening to all of the reporting as an investigator, I'm sitting here writing my own list of questions, and that is definitely on my list. I want to know, first of all, and I'm just going to kind of run down a few of the questions I have. First of all, is the suspect talking? Is he talking, or is he stayed quiet with law enforcement? And I want to know what he's saying. Was that GoPro active? The camera that he had, was that activated or was it not? The social media accounts, what did he last post? What is his grievance?
We already know, dumbass. You should have just looked it up. Former FBI. Is the FBI really hiring dumbasses like this? God damn, no wonder they've fallen off.
Emails, the digital footprint.
They used to like infiltrate revolutionary groups and like black leaders and stuff. Now they got this lady over here being like, what was his last text message? I want to know. God damn, dude.
Having worked these types of investigations, I worked the Cesar Sayoc pipe bomb case in the Miami division, and we immediately impounded the vehicle. It was taken back to the FBI field office in the Miami division, and you execute a full search warrant. There is not one aspect that goes unnoticed when you're executing those warrants. And I know some very amazing FBI agents in the Miami division. The SAC for the Miami division mentioned that all resources will be offered. The evidence response team and others, they're going to be meticulously conducting this investigation. Again,
we went through literally every single one of the suspects' tweets. They are hilarious for those of you who are wondering. Yeah, they defunded the FBI, brother. What the hell is this? I mean, it's right here. A lot of them got deleted already, I'm pretty sure. But they're just really funny overall. We need to burn the Kremlin to the ground and put an end to Putin and Russia. Let's make Ukraine the whole of Russia in the future. World War III, let's go, people. I'm ready to fight. I'm ready to go to Ukraine and fight or die for the kids and families in Ukraine. We cannot sit around and do nothing. We need to flood Ukraine with citizens from around the globe for a massive civilian army. Someone respond to me and let's do this. He was a real go-getter. Hear me out. Imagine this guy just wanted to watch Trump play golf up close, and he didn't own any binoculars, so he just had to use the scope on his rifle. Maybe. I'm literally Ukrainian, and he cares more about Ukraine than me. I mean, he was there. You know what's really funny about it? Perhaps because of the fact that he didn't do anything, like he couldn't do anything, this is not as easy of a case to stick on him as well. Like how are they going to find I'm sure this guy is so insane. He probably wrote a manifesto, but like, given the way that American laws work, it would be very funny if technically he didn't do anything illegal. Because like in the state of Florida, this is a defendable case. Because in the state of Florida, if he doesn't have like a straight up manifesto, okay, in the state of Florida, what was this? He just had that's not illegal. Like he had I guess like, is it public property? No, is it private property? Like, was he brandishing? Because if he wasn't brandishing, like, it should be, but I don't think it's to have like a registered firearm, you know. Didn't they say they're fired? No, he didn't do anything. He didn't fire any. It was Secret Service that, no, it's not. This is federal, brother. Attempted still counts even if he didn't fire. I know. I'm just saying, I'm just thinking like, put your defense attorney hat on for a second and think about the ways in which you can get this guy off. It's not as crazy as you think, because like they have to prove that he had like an intent. Like they have to prove that he at least like intended to the president. You know what I mean? And I feel like a really good lawyer could potentially be like, no, this guy was just, he was just hunting. Like, I'm thinking hard about the ways I can get this guy off. Ew. A good Florida defense attorney will get this guy to stay in a luxury mental hospital. Problem is, all the good Florida defense attorneys, I think, are probably pro-Trump, like super invested in Trump. Jayoma will get this guy off, okay? Call Jayoma. This is the case of his life. Get him on this immediately. I swear to God, dude, get him to pass the bar. That's easy for him in the state of Florida. He would do it. And then get Jayoma on the call, dude. Lolo doesn't have a job right now. Lolo, Pass the bar in Florida. It's probably easier than New York. You did it in New York. You can definitely do it in Florida. They got like way less laws there, I suspect. Isn't aiming at the former president intent? Excuse me, Your Honor. Who said he was aiming? He wasn't even brandishing. Much to consider. Your Honor, my client is a misunderstood man. He simply brought ceramic targets to shoot at and thought that this would be a large enough area where he would not be disruptive. He's a big fan of nature and thought this big patch of grass would be a perfect place for him to set down his ceramic targets to shoot at. He, as a matter of fact, was really interested in learning how to become a better so he could go back and fight in Ukraine. You are a sellout, Hasan? What? You blocking someone known by no one? You are a sellout? Filipinos have mind. He keeps trying, but he can't avoid me. Okay, I'm going to ban this guy. I object. Subjective interpretation, Your Honor. Yeah. Reduce it down to trespassing and give him house arrest. I mean, this is some funny, really. It's awesome. The big weekend show. Uh-oh.
Looking across the golf course at a chain link fence, and there are a couple of, like we saw with these pictures, a couple of bags, one that had a GoPro in it, and I think one had some ceramic tiles in it. And he sees a couple of inches of a short-barreled AK-47 sticking through the chain link fence, and then realizes what it is and then does something about it. That's pretty amazing police work, and my goodness, how fortunate.
Yeah, we are lucky again. There's no denying that. And I think to sort of try to advance the story a little bit here early on as we are, this is a bureaucratic failure, but an individual success, okay? Because bureaucratically, there's no way there should have been this kind of a hole in the security around Donald Trump. And, you know, as including Nicole has made the point, and many of the other commentators, the protection that you get as a VIP from the Secret Service or from the NYPD here in New York.
Bro, they did the job. Why are they complaining? They did the job, and they did it right. Well, I mean, they didn't do it super right because they didn't end up, like, actually shooting the guy. But, like, they literally did the job. They protected him. And they're still, like, they're still mad. They're like, oh, no one who doesn't love our big, beautiful boy should be allowed near him. That's the argument you're making at this point. It's like there should be a 1 mile radius around Donald Trump at all times where, like, people who are mean to him, who have mean thoughts about him, must immediately get arrested. Like, he ain't Bashar al-Assad, bro. This is not happening. What the f are you, like, what do you expect?
Beyond Mayorkas, nobody gets fired. And who has firing power? The president. Right. Where is our president?
Yeah, Joe Biden should fire the Secret Service that Trump really likes, by the way.
On the ground. If this team today, where they got the picture of the vehicle, they got the vehicle rapidly. They communicated amongst themselves, and someone was taken into custody fairly swiftly.
Yeah. So the response looks to have been really, really effective. It looks like there was good coordination between West Palm and between the Secret Service. According to the story that we're getting, there was a witness there who eyeballed him, then took photos of the car, took photos of the plate. That's the key point right there. Thank God for that witness. Now, think about what that's like. You're in West Palm Beach, you're in a patrol car, it's a sleepy Sunday, you're not expecting much. All of a sudden it comes over, force fired at Donald Trump's golf course. You can imagine the adrenaline rush. Everybody goes to the scene, and the service is there. You got to protect you don't know what's going on, and yet it worked. They got the facts fast. They held on to the witness. They got the information into the LPR, excuse me, the license plate reader, okay? They were immediately able to track that car. They got a hold of the conjoining sheriff's office. They immediately got on it. They did a car stop. They call it a felony stop, right? There's certain procedures to make sure there isn't a shootout. Turns out they was left at the scene, but they don't know that. And it looks like they got the right guy. That's pretty seamless, okay? And that happened fast. And you know what? We don't know where this guy resided. There's some indicia that he's not from the area, right? So we don't know if he was doing pre-surveillance to try to pick up where Trump is on a Sunday, et cetera. That's all going to be looked at. But, you know, at the time, they don't know what they're getting into. Is the car booby-trapped? Is there somebody else in the car? Does he have bombs? Remember the Boston bombing, okay? I had guys up there from NYPD, my guys. And, you know, those guys were throwing bombs out the back of the truck. So you have no idea what you're getting into with something at this level. So at this point, I think we can say very good response, well coordinated. Kudos to the team that responded on the ground. You got to go back to the prophylactic aspect of this. Should it have happened to begin with?
Paul, would you recommend, if you were handling Donald Trump's security, that he not do outdoor rallies, not golf? I don't agree. I say that the guy should be able to do what he wants to do. He should be able to golf and do outdoor rallies because that's where he gets the big crowds. Yeah. But if you were running security, would you say at this point, given 2 attempts in 9 weeks, would you say, you know what, Mr. President, let's keep it indoors, let's keep it in a secure location? What would you do?
Look, if that's the safe answer, right? I'm running the detail. I say that to him, and I would fully expect to get a no back. Right? It's safer for me to say, Donald, Mr. President, do me a favor, don't leave the basement. All right, much like the Biden campaign in 2020, right? Why don't we let's run a Biden campaign, okay? Can you stay inside Mar-a-Lago so I can sleep at night? But I wouldn't expect Donald Trump to adhere to that, and nor should any of us. The idea that with the resources of we can't protect one human being who everybody knows there's a lot of people want to take out, they're afraid he's going to win. That's what's driving this. I mean, I know, look, it's a little bit of a leap what the motive was here, but at some point, if it walks like a duck and talks like a duck, they're afraid he's going to win. There's 2 attempts here. That's not an accident.
I'm just curious about what happens tomorrow, because after July 13th in Butler, no one from the Secret Service came to the mics to talk to the American people to clarify anything. So in the void, what did we find? Conspiracy theories, lots of questions, all sorts of problems, a tremendous amount of reporting. But what I'm curious about is if we're going to see the acting director of the Secret Service tomorrow.
I know a guy who can get some Afghan soldiers to do security. Yeah, he's a little bit caught up with some other shit right now, but if Trump is real desperate for some extra security, we got just the guy. He's got passports. He's ready to let it rip, dude. He's a little tied up currently, but it's pretty funny that the context for this attempt is him golfing. Like, bro's running for president, but just golfs instead of giving up about Americans. The optics aren't even good for him. Yeah, but his fans love that. Thank God for, thank God there is a wonderful median American voter out there who knows the solution. People having more will fix this. I agree. As far as cosmic tortures go, Trump repeatedly experiencing near misses from people he cannot credibly leverage politically is pretty funny. Yeah, that is a very funny monkey's paw situation for him. Like, that's what I mean. Like, I bet you that in his mind there was like a brief moment where he was like, oh my God, I hope it's a Haitian guy or something. Why can he not leverage one politically as opposed to the last one? Because despite not being like a registered Republican, he's a former registered Republican, a former Trump supporter, and also seemingly was like, let's be real. It's because he's a 58-year-old white man. Okay. That's the reason why. Like, that's number one. He's a 58-year-old cisgender white man. It is basically the most protected category. Okay. It's not gonna, it's gonna be really hard. If he was like even a 50-year-old black man, you could do that. You could leverage it. Okay. If he was a migrant, oh my God. Oh, that would be perfect for him. Okay. Sorry about being white and existing for a duration of time. Yeah. As you know, I'm the biggest anti-white man myself. So I don't think I ever watched a live of you, and I've been watching your YouTube stuff for years. And today, like 10 minutes ago, I just lost a group of friends because they kept repeating Trump's talking points on immigration, etc., etc. So I'm now here to fill the void. I'm sorry to hear about your friend's chatter. He's insane, though. Isn't that leverage enough? No, that's the other part. He didn't even do this for like abortion. You know what I mean? Like, as a white guy, that makes it really hard for him already to like make a tailor-made message around this. Because at most you get like, oh, your words are making this really hard for us. Like, you can't ever do that. If you're a Republican, you can never say words are violence, because words are literally violence when you're doing it, right? This guy did it for Ukraine, most likely. Like, he did it for NATO, right? And that in and of itself is not exactly like a massive issue. There is bipartisan consensus for the most part, with some Republicans saying like, we're giving Ukraine too much money, but it's ultimately still foreign policy. So that goes that's relegated to the American bipartisanship status. So overall, it's not like one of those issues that's like inherently just for the Democratic Party. If you poll Democrats and Republicans on like Ukraine, yeah, there's probably a lot more Republicans that want to stop giving to Ukraine or whatever, but like it's not that big of a wedge issue is what I'm trying to say. It's not that big of an issue at all. In terms of foreign policy, I think like Americans care probably more about, or not even probably, I know that for a fact. Americans care more about than they care about Ukraine, but they don't even care about that much either. So like it still goes back to foreign policy. That's why I used to joke about how like there's not a NATO voter, there's not an AUKUS voter. Turns out I was right on that. There is one NATO AUKUS voter, and his name is Ryan. What was it? I'm forgetting his name. Sorry, Ryan Ruth. What? Did you see this horrendous tweet from Ruth? Oh, that gray streak in your hair is stupid. Grow up or go away. Yeah, I disagree. That's the one thing I disagree with him on. Like that is the only thing that is hot about Tulsi Gabbard is the white streak. Everything else sucks. Like I hate Tulsi Gabbard, but I mean the white streak looks sexy. I mean she's already, yeah, she's attractive, but also like on top of that, she's like the white streak makes her look like a comic book supervillain.
They're the ones that should have instituted these changes.
Jason, it's Alicia Acuna. The American people have been through so much this summer. We've already seen congressional hearings from July 13th. We got some answers, but there are still so many questions, and we're supposed to get some more answers, and they're not going to be good this coming week. You have to assume we're going to have more congressional hearings, and we are 51 days from.
You can tell they got really nothing. That's why they keep talking about like Biden wants him to die because he won't give him like more money for his Secret Service. How much you want to bet Secret Service comes out and says they've already maxed out? Like he gets max defense from Secret Service more than like any other person has ever historically gotten. How much you want to bet? And on top of that, Biden will say probably that we'll give him even more additional Secret Service detail. Because like, what are you supposed to do? Get 100% of the budget? Like, what the fuck are you talking about? This is the Fox News C Squad. They don't have their own version of Wolf Blitzer to break out for breaking news. Yeah. Why were the caddies not armed? Yeah, look, this is what I mean. This is like, this is not a good position, dude. This language must stop, says Richard Grinnell. Do you realize that if Donald Trump is that our country will be ripped into two? I fear for America with these tactics. Your language is radical and contains two lies. For the sake of our country, stop. And then the person he's responding to is Hakeem Jeffries. And the thing that he's responding about is extreme MAGA Republicans are the party of a national abortion ban in Trump's Project 2025. We must stop them. Like, that's not, you can't run a national campaign on being like, you are not allowed to run against my president. He was twice now, even though the second time he wasn't even 1 hour after the news broke of the shooting. Absolutely despicable for posterity. Like, what? You think they're going to cancel him? Are you stupid? This is hilarious. Okay. I'm going to say Republicans, honestly, it's not okay that the Democrats are running against Trump after he had 2 failed attempts. Very funny stuff. Fox is like, words are violence, don't do it. Now back to our next topic, how we will remove 20,000 Haitians from a town violently. Yeah, this is fun. Another Trump attempt. How quickly will the media bury it? Dude, okay, you want to know why this is hilarious of him to say? You are burying it. You stop talking about it immediately afterwards, idiot. What do you mean, the media? I guess you are the media as well. How many times do you think Ben Shapiro talked about the Trump attempt since it happened? Do you think that it is a larger percentage than CNN? Maybe. But what do you think the margin is? That's what's so stupid about this. It's like, dude, it's just, it didn't work. Like, it didn't work. You can try and act like there is, you can try and act, wait, no, he's not Russian propaganda. How dare you? Ben Shapiro never got paid by Tenet, okay? He is not Tim Pool, sir. Ben Shapiro did not get paid by Tenet, as far as we know. That would be really funny if he did. Like, I'm willing to bet that Ben Shapiro has probably talked about migrant crime significantly more times since Donald Trump got that than the Trump, you know what I mean? Are you burying the story, Ben? No, you just understand that people don't give a f. They only care about what's in front of them, like the top of the hour ad break, which is coming right now at the top of the hour. If you no longer want to see those ads, All you need to do is subscribe for $6 or for free with a Twitch Prime. Okay. Can I not get the ad this time? Well, you're subscribed already, the Yellow King, so you will not be getting the ad regardless. It's almost 20 o'clock. Unfortunately, CNN, it's supposed to be on right now, but CNN pushed it because obviously this happened. So because of their breaking news coverage on the fake Trump, which is not real, by the way, it didn't happen. Okay. I guess technically it literally didn't. That's my position on the matter. I've decided I'm going to be like, that didn't happen. It happened the first time. It was foiled. The second time didn't even happen. Not a single was fired. You can't tell me. It was only Secret Service that fired at a law-abiding American citizen who just simply had a scoped rifle and ceramic plates. You know, what is this? What did he say? NBC News Lester Holt suggests that Trump and JD Vance are responsible for the attempt on Trump today. Oh my God, they're being libtards, dude. They are. This is awesome. Anyway, here's the 3-minute ad break now. Dude, everyone in the Republican Party has been like nonstop chirping, and they've all become like hyperventilating libs. They're all doing like words of violence. How dare you? How dare you? Let's see what Lester Holt, my goat, said, which, by the way, the shooter also loved Lester Holt. This is why the shooter, well, he's not even a shooter. This is why the assailant, the suspect, said, Lester Holt, I will ride for you. Lester Holt, I will die for you. Lester Holt, you are my hero.
Today's apparent attempt comes amid increasingly fierce rhetoric on the campaign trail itself. Mr. Trump, his running mate J.D. Vance continue to make baseless claims about Haitian immigrants in Ohio. This weekend, there were new threats in that town. Our Maggie Vespa is in Columbus, Ohio, with more.
Wait, why are they're mad that they brought up Trump's like violent rhetoric after he got almost again?
Lester, simply put, Springfield, Ohio has been inundated by threats over the last several days, closing government buildings, schools, hospitals. Today, effectively closing a local university campus after administrators said someone threatened a mass shooting. This in light of, officials say, a false online conspiracy theory alleging Haitian immigrants in that city are eating people's pets. Something.
What?
All right, we've lost our contact with Maggie.
MRC Newsbusters. Dun, dun, dun. They're so mad. Disgusting. Real Donald Trump Jr. Yeah, I know you are, but what is Lester Holt? Got him. Are you doing the CNN show? No, dog. The CNN show is not happening anymore.
It was Donald Trump when this gentleman was caught and stopped. I got him. Probably between 300 and 500 yards, but with a rifle and a scope like that, that's not a long distance.
Hello, everyone. I'm Molly Line, along with Alicia Acuna, Charlie Hurt, and Joe Concha, and welcome to the Big Weekend Show. The big story tonight, a second attempt on former President Donald Trump. The Republican presidential candidate says he is safe and well.
Is it postponed or canceled? It's postponed. It's postponed until probably tomorrow. I don't know when they're going to do it, but they're going to slot it in again. They just had to take it out of the lineup because obviously the entire lineup shifted over to this higher order of priority news story.
There were 2 bags, a GoPro, and a long. Over 2 months ago, the former president survived a first attempt during his rally in Butler, Pennsylvania. The former president has responded to the shooting, writing, "There were in my vicinity, but before rumors start spiraling out of control, I wanted you to hear this first. I am safe and well. Nothing will slow me down. I will never surrender." Joining us now is Mark Levin, host of Life, Liberty, and Levin, and former chief of staff to Attorney General Edwin Meese in the Reagan administration. Thank you for coming on this evening. I just want to start with getting your insights on what has been a truly remarkable day.
Well, let's start this way. Thank you. Who's in charge? Who's in charge? We don't have any idea who's in charge.
Master Shay.
Who's in charge of protecting a presidential candidate in this country? Well, we can talk about the Secret Service, the FBI, DHS, and listen to all your great hosts with their tremendous experience. And it is fascinating to me. You know, I'm a little older. I served in the Reagan administration. I was chief of staff to Attorney General Meese. And let me tell you what would have happened in that administration. Ronald Reagan would have picked up the phone. He would have called Attorney General Meese. He would have said, "You're in charge of getting to the bottom of this, and you got 48 hours to do it." Meese, who I worked next to, he would have called the Treasury Secretary. He would have called every department that has any role in federal law enforcement. FBI reports to him. He would have dragged Christopher Wray up there. He would have brought in the U.S. Marshals. He would have brought them all in. Secret Service, Secretary of DHS. we would have been in the situation room with the United States Department of Justice. And Ed Meese would have said to all those gathered, you better GD get to the bottom of this, and you have 48 hours to report to me, and I want to know how you're going to fix this. And I want to know right away how you're going to fix this. Twice on our watch? Never. Instead, we have very wise people who worked at the FBI, who worked at Secret Service, who worked in local law enforcement. Where's the Secret Service? Where's the FBI? Nobody is in charge because we have a president of the United States who's mentally incapacitated. We have a vice president of the United States who's an incompetent, way over her head.
The more angry he gets, the more he sounds like Master
Shake.
Shake.
Who just held a press event the other day about violence, and he's, what, in the witness protection program, the top 3 people in charge of law enforcement in the United States of America. 2 of them tweeted. 1 of them did nothing. Now, this isn't about tweeting. Oh, I'm so glad that President Trump is well. Well, isn't that nice? The executive branch is run by the President of the United States. Number 2, the Vice President of the United States. Federal law enforcement, ultimately, the Attorney General of the United States. And they're all AWOL. They're nowhere. So it's perfectly fine if we keep banging heads about the head of the Secret Service, the head of the FBI. These are bureaucrats mostly. Mayorkas, we know what he is. He's a complete incompetent buffoon. But where the hell is the president, the vice president who wants to be president, and the attorney general who has done absolutely nothing to get his hands around this? Now, I'm telling you this as somebody who served at the highest level of the Department of Justice, that justice wouldn't sit back and wait for a local special agent in charge in Miami to take over. They'd be sending guys in there from Washington, D.C., and Meese would have wanted a report every hour on the damn hour. And he'd want to know what we're going to do to fix this. And I can also tell you that the first time around this would have happened had Ed Meese been the Attorney General, Reagan been the President of the United States. So this is all evidence to me when I listen to everybody, and they're all fantastic. But it's all evidence to me of Keystone Cops. Who's in charge of what? Well, it depends. This one should have done that. This should have done. No, we need a general who's in charge and says, I want to know who the hell screwed up. I want to know what the hell we're going to do to fix this next time, what resources we need. And I don't want to hear again that the Secret Service doesn't have resources. We're $5 trillion in debt with this administration. Maybe a little bit of that climate change money or money going to illegal aliens. Maybe that money could have been moved into the Secret Service. I have no idea. But we have no time to figure all that out. We have 50 days until a presidential election. Let me ask you a question. Does Joe Biden seem that concerned tonight? Where is he? Does Kamala Harris seem that concerned tonight? Well, she tweeted. Isn't that nice? I tweeted too. So what? The Attorney General of the United States, does he seem that concerned tonight?
What is she supposed to do?
They just don't.
What is she supposed to do? Take up arms against, like, whoever might Trump next? Like,
that is what's happening. Every part of it, including the best parts of it, the federal law enforcement parts of it, they're now running adrift. I speak as a former person who served at the highest level of the Department of Justice.
So, Mark, Charlie Hurt here. Obviously, you're exactly right about President Biden being completely MIA and has been for a long time in the presidency. But we're sort of back at this. After the Butler, Pennsylvania shooting, there was all of this professed unity where President Biden and others talked about how they were going to lower the rhetoric. But now we're back to where you have Democrats issuing tweets saying that they're glad that the guy they called last week Hitler survived another attempt. Mm-hmm. It strikes me that maybe they didn't really mean it when they said it 6 weeks ago.
Of course they don't mean it. If you watch MSNBC for about 15 minutes, the hate and the drivel and the contempt that pours out of their pores from Joy Reid and, don't get me started with a long list. CNN, so contemptible. Every time they mention Trump's name, they have this constipated look on their face, like it's unbearable. The way that you have prosecutors talk about Donald Trump, elected prosecutors and a Garland-appointed prosecutor, the things that they say in their briefs are so horrendous. What some of these judges have to say, the Democrat Party controls the culture, they control the media, they control the propaganda, They now control many of the court systems, and that's exactly what you're seeing. You're seeing a one-party monopolistic system. And people have written about this long before me, who've gone through these various regimes, totalitarian regimes, their use of words, creating devil terms and angel terms. You know, Trump's always the devil, Harris is the angel. And you can see this endless propaganda and contempt. And by the way, they hate you and me, too. They've made it abundantly clear they hate at least half the country. So, of course, this contributes to the nut jobs out there and so forth. But still, I don't know how much we can do to fix that. I do know we can do something to fix the executive branch. And we got to boot these people out as fast as possible, take these agencies back. We need to fumigate them. We need to get people in there who are serious public servants and civil servants. We need to put competent people in senior positions. We need to take the FBI back. We need to take all the federal agencies, and particularly the police agencies, back. We need to take the Department of Justice back. And we can do that in the next election, because right now they're completely and utterly either out of control or rudderless.
Mark, it's Joe Concha. I'm going to read a quote from Lester Holt, who was reporting on this attempt. Again, the second in 64 days. Here's what he said tonight on the NBC Nightly News, and you're going to get a real kick out of this. Quote, today's apparent attempt comes amid increasingly fierce rhetoric on the campaign trail. Mr. Trump, his running mate J.D. Vance, continue to make baseless claims about Haitian immigrants in Springfield, Ohio, resulting in threats. So in other words, it's Trump's fault that somebody tried to shoot him today because of something that was said about Springfield, Ohio, which has had an influx of thousands upon thousands of Haitian immigrants to their town. And because Trump brings that up and because J.D. Vance brings that up, therefore, that's what's leading this. I'll let you go from here because I can't believe what I just saw right now in the NBC Nightly News.
Sickening. Absolutely sickening. No, actually, I thought it was all the Democrats and their anti-Semitism. I thought it was all the Democrats and their anti-Israel. I thought it was all the Democrats hunting down Jews on universities and college campuses. I thought they were the problem. I thought it was all the illegal immigrants raping, selling into slavery, women and children. Maybe Lester Holt has a difficulty digesting facts around it. This guy is not a Haitian. In fact, the more I'm reading I'm getting information he may have been an anti-Semite. I don't know what he is. We'll get the facts. But Lester Holt doesn't have any facts.
Bro said one time those in Gaza has to stop, and they're immediately like, he's an anti-Semite.
I think the computer would melt down.
Everyone knows.
In order to try and turn, look, let's be honest. They've been trying to turn Trump into a non-human. And that's what they've been trying to do from the beginning. They're dehumanizing him. And they've been doing this. I've written about this in 2 books.
Dude, what are you saying, dude? What are you saying? The Democrats are pussies, but like, of course, despite being pussies, they're still running a campaign against Donald Trump. Okay? Every now and then, they will actively be like, Trump is bad for America, as you're supposed to. These guys are so used to bullying the liberals that they straight up are like, if you're running against the Republican after he got that, you're a bad person. You should just let him win. It's like, are you insane? Like, what is this argument? What are you saying? Oh, where's the humanity? Yeah, dude, they're running a campaign. It's insane, dude.
Cops who's in charge of what?
Mark, it's Alicia Acuna, and thank you so much for being here. You know, as you know, the acting U.S. Secret Service Director, Ronald Rowe, gave an update to senators on Thursday on the internal investigation from the July 13th attempt. And
yeah, Republicans be like, these pedophile demons who have actually brought in every black and brown person from the third world to come and rape our beautiful white daughters, okay, who stole the election, are dehumanizing our president instead of just saying, sorry, you win this round, sir. Go ahead. It's like, yeah, I don't care, man. I don't care. Like, I don't personally care. And thank God, even the most annoying baby, mealy-mouthed, feckless, cowardly liberals don't give it either. Because, like, at this point, that's the last thing that they could do. You know what I mean? That's like the last thing that they could still pull on, to be like, you know what? In the interest of fairness, to preserve American democracy, we're just going to let Donald Trump have this election because he got that. I wouldn't put it past them, okay? I wouldn't put it past them, but thank God that they're not, okay? You should do a stream with big boob and breast. Facts.
But I want people to remember about Thomas Paine. I want them to say, well, what can I do? You know, I'm a janitor, I'm an electrician. You can do a hell of a lot. You are the Paul Revere's and you are the Thomas Paines. You need to talk to 10 people. You need to talk to 15 people. You need to make sure you not only vote early, you get people vote early. We can't rely on political parties to get out the vote. We have to get out the vote. It's now. We have 50 days to try and fix this right now.
Well, Mark, for all of us, thank you so much for being here tonight and sharing your perspective. We appreciate it. Mark Levin.
God bless. Thank you.
And right now, the FBI is collecting evidence outside of Trump National Golf Club, and that's where Dana Marie McNichol is live tonight. Dana Marie. Okay, so we're still waiting for Dana Marie McNichol to get up and her information. But Paul, I want to go to you actually, if we can, just to continue this conversation. Some of the points that Mark Levin was making, he just really hammered on this idea of leadership, because Americans want leadership right now, and they're not seeing it.
It beggars belief that we still have not gotten a press conference from Alejandro Mayorkas relative to the failures of the Secret Service. What we should have gotten is, first of all, Mayorkas very early in the game after Butler, but then subsequent to that, there should have been a press conference about how the service under him is being rebuilt and the measures that were taken to fix what was clearly a flaw. It seems that only in our current regime do these sort of flaws seem to fall by the wayside. They're on the cutting room floor. Nobody seems to care. And think about the signal it sends to our adversaries. If we could get two apparent clowns who are low level to manage to almost do what they almost did here, not only in Butler, but down in Florida, what does it say to the IRGC in Iran? What does it say to some of our more radicalized enemies around the world? What it says is America's not what they used to be. We don't have to worry about these guys. They don't even seem to be able to protect one of their main VIPs, who may very well be the next president. It is a diminution of American stature, American status, and the fact that we can't do this. If you're sitting where, let's say, the Chinese or the Russians are, you got to say, we don't have to worry about these guys.
Would you be worried, Paul, to my point earlier, and I asked Mark this, I asked Jason this as well, that a 20-year-old outflanked the entire Secret Service?
Bro had to weave in, and IRGC mentioned, yeah, they love Iran. So did he take it or not? Because they're acting like the crank emptied the clip. No, dude, they did not. They are trying to massage the narrative to a way into a situation where it kind of feels like there was a real threat against Donald Trump. And this time there obviously wasn't, unlike the last time. He didn't even get it off. He didn't even get it off, dude. Yeah, he got at by Secret Service. He ran away. Would-be shooter arrested. Yeah, I mean, even in the Chiron, it says would-be shooter arrested. GoPro found outside of Trump International Golf Club. To be fair, it's still an attempt. I know, but they're lying about the events that took place because no one was fired in his vicinity. They're making it seem like this guy literally grazed Trump again when obviously he didn't. And that's the funny part about this, because they also then have to complain about something. And they're basically like, oh, well, what about the Secret Service? Like, they didn't do a good job. It's like, what do you mean? They literally foiled an attempt. What the fuck do you want them to do? And therein lies the problem. You can't cut a narrative off of this when the actual actual things that happened are not even as like eye-catching as the last time this occurred. And the last time this occurred, nobody gave it. Okay? So like, it's funny to me that they're doing the exact same thing again. I tweeted, love that the last time Trump almost got the GOP message was these monstrous Dems who export illegals from the third world to rape your kids still are campaigning against our president with mean words. And it didn't move the needle even a little bit, and they're doing it again. It's not going to work. It didn't work the last time, and Trump almost got, man. They hate him. We hate him. I hate him. I'm a Joe Brandon voter. I'm writing in for Biden. I'm writing in Biden, okay? And I still hate Donald Trump, okay? I hate them. Of course I hate them. Look at him, dude. Look at the past week of stories. Damn, look at this guy. Warning about Ryan Ruth. He is not and never has been associated with the International Legion or the Ukrainian Armed Forces at all. He's not and never has been a Legion recruiter. He is misrepresenting himself and lying to many people. Ruth is currently posting on Facebook about getting Afghanistan citizens into the International Legion. He told the New York Times in 2023 that he wanted to get soldiers in the Ukraine illegally. Ryan Ruth has many public Facebook posts about getting soldiers in the Ukraine in 2023 and 2024. He has no authority to act on behalf of Ukraine and ignores laws about visas. Ruth is either human trafficking, scamming people, or attempting to break as many countries' laws as he can to try to smuggle people into Ukraine to fight. This is unethical, unprofessional, and unacceptable. This was back in 2024 in June, I think. Okay. Other issues. Ruth has posted soldiers' phone numbers on websites without permission, giving out recruiters' phone numbers to people without permission, manipulates people into breaking laws. Avoid any contact with Ruth as he misrepresents what he can legally do. I served in the International Legion for 2 years, and I've told Ruth many times since 2022 that he's not helping, and what he's doing is illegally. He doesn't listen. To add to this, he was previously attempted to recruit from Syria and Iraq. When he was asked to stop, he wouldn't. He was trying to come up with entry routes and was trying to organize visas for people categorically said won't be allowed into the army. It's remarkable how disparate the media footprints of the Butler shooter versus Ruth were. Yeah. Oh, we were watching Ben Shapiro cry about this